Chapter 4. Creating the World. Imagine you're tasked with building a new world from scratch. What would you do first? You'd start with the environment, the landscape, the elements, and the physical laws that keep everything in order. Before life can thrive, there must be a foundation, a place where living things can grow and exist. The first step in creation is setting the stage, laying the groundwork for what's to come. In the biblical creation story, this is the act of forming the heavens and the earth. The Creator brings order to chaos, separating the light from the darkness, the land from the water, and establishing the laws of nature that will govern everything. It's an act of world building, much like what we do today when we create virtual realities or design digital spaces. Creating a livable environment is no simple task. Every detail matters: the shape of the land, the way water flows, the position of the stars in the sky. Each decision must be precise, intentional, and balanced, as this world isn't just a backdrop. It's the canvas upon which life itself will be painted. When we create virtual worlds today, we design entire landscapes from scratch: mountains, rivers, deserts, and forests. These aren't just random settings, but ecosystems with their own rules and interactions, each contributing to the diversity and functionality of the world. Take a moment to imagine the complexity involved in programming such an environment in the digital world. Every ripple in the water, the way a tree sways in the wind, or how sunlight casts shadows at certain angles, all of it must be considered. The intricacies of coding these natural behaviors in a virtual world mirror the deep, inherent complexity of the physical universe we live in. These spaces aren't just visual backdrops. They are ecosystems, complete with weather systems, gravity, and the laws that govern how objects interact. In our digital creations, just as in the physical world, there are rules that define how everything behaves. Water flows downhill, light bends, gravity pulls things to the ground. We're not just building a scene, we're creating a framework within which life can exist. These rules aren't arbitrary. They're designed with precision, much like the laws of nature we observe in our own universe. Physics, thermodynamics, and gravity are all carefully balanced to ensure that life can thrive. In a virtual world, we set similar rules: how objects collide, how the wind blows, how animals move through the landscape. These are the building blocks of any world, ensuring that everything runs smoothly, predictably, and according to plan. Without these fundamental rules, a world would quickly descend into chaos. A place where nothing made sense, where actions lacked consequences, and where life, as we know it, could not exist. In the creation narrative, the Creator establishes these laws of nature before life emerges. The formation of the earth, the division of water and land, and the creation of light are all essential foundations that bring order to the universe. Without this order, life cannot take root. Similarly, in a virtual environment, order must come before life can flourish. The physics engine, the invisible force that governs movement, collision, and interaction, must be finely tuned to maintain balance. These systems operate behind the scenes, ensuring that the world makes sense and that all living things can function within it. Once the environment is established, the next step is to populate the world with life. In the biblical narrative, the Creator filled the earth with plants, trees, and animals of every kind. The world was alive, teeming with creatures that interacted with their environment, each playing its role in the greater ecosystem. In a virtual world, we do the same. We create forests filled with wildlife, oceans teeming with fish, and skies where birds soar. Each of these creatures behaves according to the rules of the world, moving and interacting in ways that make the world feel alive. Just as the Creator crafted a diversity of life, we imbue our worlds with variety, adding layers of complexity and richness that bring these spaces to life. But there's something missing at this stage. While the world is vibrant and full of life, there's no interaction between the Creator and the creation. Not yet. The animals and plants move and grow, but they aren't aware of a higher purpose or direction. It's a world in motion, governed by the rules that were set at the beginning, but without any conscious awareness. This stage is about establishing the foundation, setting everything in place so that life can exist and flourish. At this stage, we also recognize that the laws are self-sustaining. The creatures behave in ways programmed into the system, each responding to the environment according to their design. There's no interference or direct involvement from the Creator. Everything moves according to the natural order. But this natural order has its limits. Without the ability to think, to question, or to wonder, these creatures exist, but they do not yet participate in a larger narrative. They are inhabitants of a world, not yet its storytellers. In our virtual worlds, it's the same. Once we've built the environment and set the rules, we can populate it with creatures that move, grow, and interact. But at this stage, these creatures are governed by the rules of the system. They aren't conscious, and they don't interact with us as creators. They exist within the world, but they don't yet shape the story themselves. They are part of the backdrop, filling the world with life, but not yet taking an active role in the unfolding narrative. The plants and animals we've coded into existence follow their preordained routines, adding realism and texture to the world, but lacking the spark of intelligence that drives a true story forward. This phase of creation is essential. The world has been built, the laws established, and life has been introduced. But the story isn't complete. The world, while alive, lacks something. It lacks characters who can interact with the creator's purpose, who can shape the story themselves. Without these main characters, the world remains a beautiful, living system, but it doesn't yet have the complexity and depth that comes with intelligent life. Just as in our own universe, it's the introduction of intelligent beings that adds meaning, challenge, and purpose to the world itself. The next step is to introduce those main characters, those who will take part in the unfolding narrative of life. In the biblical story, this is the creation of humanity, beings capable of making choices, interacting with the Creator, and shaping the world around them. In our virtual worlds, this is when we would introduce intelligent, autonomous characters who can act within the framework we've built, responding to the rules but also shaping their own paths. But what happens when the world is set in motion, and intelligent beings begin to take their place in the story? What happens when they must be guided, led, and influenced by something beyond the rules of nature?